At 7:16, I'm gonna call the Wednesday, March 26, 2025 meeting of the Library Board of Trustees to order. I'm gonna start with saying a huge thank you to the voters of Westborough for overwhelming positive votes for the library repair project at town meeting on Saturday. It was super exciting. We'll talk more about that later on, but just wanted to start off with that. Seeing no members of the public here, we'll move into the director's report. Okay. That is going. But yeah, got it. Oh, gee. Oh, hello.
Taking a picture of that?
What's up?
Taking a picture of that?
Yeah, that's pretty much. Woohoo!
We're jumping into our director's report.
Okay,
Right.
Dot will be up, she's parking, she'll be up here in a few minutes.
Okay, oh, great. Okay.
So I don't have a whole lot of operational items here, solely because we were so focused on my repair project and town meeting and budget process. So a couple of things that are interesting for this month, which are not surprisingly our busiest hours were Saturday at noon, Saturday at 11, and Saturday at 10. So again, a real pattern here. Obviously, library repair project, the update is that we passed town meeting, and I'm sure we will go into that later on the agenda. Just leaving space to say, for staff in here, it's now kind of kicking into high gear in terms of temporary space and packing and getting a clear timeline and all of those things. So the vote is kind of just step one. Now we're moving into more work. In terms of staffing updates, you guys all know that it's been a very long process getting our circulation manager position reclassified appropriately to reader services librarian. That has been posted. We have gone over resumes. We completed the first few interviews today. We have interviews through this week. And if we like any of those options, we will be moving into an offer and be fully staffed, hopefully for the first time in a while. So we're very excited about that. One of the things that we talked a lot about in this team is, and I actually think it's on our rolling agenda list, which is,
There's a chair over here. Oh, all right.
whatever. Standard better know our steps. And so one of the things we wanted to kind of look at this group is inviting a member of our leadership team to these meetings for a very brief overview at what they do, hear what their level of expertise is, and to show you a little bit into what it is that they contribute to on our team. And I thought that would be a really good way to kind of move into this kind of time-space conversation. And so we looked at the schedule and we think it makes sense for kind of the first one to be our team librarian, Jen. If that works for everybody, we'll invite her to give like a very brief kind of look at what it is she does here and all the different kind of things she's been working on beyond this library.
Awesome.
Question, I know these folks are eager to do this and I'm sure we're all eager to have them, but have you considered? I'm sure you have considered the issue of comp time for them. Is that an issue, or am I worried about something that I shouldn't be worried about?
No, that's
Thank you. Okay. All right. Just shook your head more direction.
Don't worry about it. No, I think it's a fair question. What I will say is everybody here who works here, including myself, but all of our librarians, part of a librarian's job is to be flexible with their schedule to account for when the public wants programs, when the public wants, especially our leadership team. And so flexing their schedules to meet a meeting or a program or an outreach event is something that we do regularly. So that will not be a problem. National Library Week is coming up. It's April 6th through the 12th. This year in particular, I think we have some things to look at. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with National Library Week. This year, I think it's themed around draw,
Yeah.
something like that. But what's really interesting about National Library Week is that each of the days is themed. So, Monday the 7th is Right to Read Day, Tuesday the 8th is National Library Workers Day. Wednesday the 9th is Outreach Day, and Thursday the 10th is Take Action for Libraries Day, which is all about advocacy for libraries, which I would think would be particularly of interest to this team. So something to mention, we've got a lot of things in the works. One of the things we've been working on with our leadership team is planning with the staff what we want to do and how we want to celebrate it and how we want to use it as a chance to advocate for the library to the public. So we've got a few things going on that I think are going to be a lot of fun. One of the items I wanted to put on here, not necessarily for discussion unless it's something you really want to do, but just in terms of data gathering, which is the impact of the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences, an executive order that is designed to defund or eliminate that part of it. We are kind of still working out what that means at the local level for us. We got an email today from Jeanette, who is the head of CWMR's network. That is a little more local to what that means for us in terms of E-rate, our consortium-wide ebook buying has some impact there, probably not this year, possibly next year. I think right now we're just in a lot of unknowns. And so check out all these links if you want the newest information on what's going on. There's new stuff coming out from the ALA, there's new stuff coming out from the MPLC, the Massachusetts Library Association. I'm the vice president of Central Mass Library Advocates, which is the Central Mass kind of advocacy group for libraries. And our president will be releasing a statement as well. And so one of the things that CWMRs just did, I don't know if you know about this, they just sent this out like an hour ago. On Libby, they've put kind of a piece of the statement in the ALA. So when people go to borrow an ebook, there'll be some information on there about what does that mean for people. So I just wanted to include that here so we all need to kind of keep an eye out, be informed about it, be ready to answer questions about it when they come up. I leave it up to you guys, how you want to do it. Just because right now it's a lot of unknowns. And then I just included a bunch of updates from our different departments, kind of trying to let you guys in on the different things that they're doing. This month was really interesting because we added a whole bunch of new, they're called Welly Wishers, but they're basically like a smaller version of an American Girl doll. It's by the American Girl brand. And they all went out immediately. So fast that Bernadette didn't even get a picture before they all went out. She was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to put them on hold so I can at least get a photo of them. They're extremely cute. Another big addition to our children's library thing. So I'll call that out. Everything else is in here. If you have questions about anything that I've been in here, I'm happy to answer them.
Can I ask a quick question about those? How do you post something on Facebook or like how do people know about?
Yeah, so usually we put it on social media and we also send it out in our email newsletter. I don't know if it has yet.
I don't think it has.
They just got out.
Okay.
What were they called?
Welly Wishers. They're super cute. I didn't even know they existed.
Are they
because
small, big?
they're smaller
They're
than
like
American
medium
Girl,
American Girl.
but they're not tiny.
Okay.
How did you work?
Bernadette.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said, you
Very
know,
popular.
yeah, she's like, these are super popular, they're easier to serve, there's more options for them, they're less expensive, so we can get more of them. This is a really good fit for the library. And she was right.
Just out of curiosity, you added 550 things. How does the reading correspond to that?
So this is just actual items, added to the collection, so it's books, whatever, anything. Our reading changes from month to month, so I don't know how many we read this month because it's, you know, yeah,
It
but
doesn't have to be one-to-one, of course.
yeah, it's not usually one-to-one, it really depends on what collection we're focused on. And obviously that's all gonna, that number will probably be impacted by temporary space.
Probably.
Yes, and it is informing our purchasing because it's end of year and we're looking at hitting our minimum 15% spend. And we are, I mean, we just had a meeting where we talked about maybe looking at more databases or e-resources rather than investing in physical material right now. So yeah, that is a good question. Anything else? Yes.
How are those little, like block things?
Oh, the Tony boxes?
Tony boxes.
Oh, they are never here. They fly off the shelf. We actually, that was part of our discussion too, is expanding that collection. Because while we're closed, it's a good time to recall them and we can load more onto each one.
I had to wait forever to get one.
Yeah, so we're gonna be expanding that collection. And we're also looking into, it's a similar product called Yodo. They're smaller, but they're geared more for older kids. So, that's another goal of our end of year spending, also a really good project for when we're closed that staff can work on, so that we're accounting for every hour.
Do other libraries have collections of those too?
They're a little trickier just because the memory on them isn't bigger, and the new version, because they were recalled, you can only get the newest version, and the newest version replaced the memory card with like a built-in memory. And so we can't hack them. So what we're gonna do is have like 4 for older kids and 4 for younger kids. And only loading just be purposeful in our packaging so that it's obvious which ones can play with which devices. That's our best solution, so then brainstorming it, but yeah. All right, that's all I have.
Any questions on the director's report?
Yeah, one question. One of the things that I found is most enjoyable in this building is the conversation circles, and Tracy has been really good about getting the word out. As a matter of fact, I've attended just about every one for this couple of months. And, we're now getting more people from out of town than in town, because there's some, which is, you know, terrific.
Yeah.
But can we get more people in town by coming up with some kind of a campaign connected to as whomever?
English language.
Yeah, probably, yeah, we can definitely do work on that, we're always looking
I'd
at.
be happy to help you, but it's, you know, really, I mean, it's an enormous success.
Yeah,
It's not, we're not teaching anybody how to speak English, but we're teaching them how to feel comfortable with the English that they have.
yeah.
And that keeps things, obviously.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the space we carved out in temporary space. How that impacts programming and how many people can fit, whether it expands it or whether we see an impact in the other way. We're gonna have some sound issues that we're gonna have to work through, we're gonna have some space issues we're gonna have to work through. And hopefully we don't lose anybody during the time that we're closed. It's all an unknown and we're gonna do our best.
During those times that we're closed, but even into the time we're in temporary space, encouraged to think about alternative locations for meetings, like Forbes meeting room, any of the schools, you can rent out spaces for things that are like weekly.
And Tatnick might be another option.
Right, and then as the weather looks warm, Bay State Commons is right there, right, you know.
Oh.
The central bank, when I was talking to them about something, encouraged people, because the Lions clubs have their meeting there. And they said even if someone who wanted to have a party.
They have their community space.
And they
have
really
people
want
stories.
community in and out. And it's got a big space upstairs and a big space downstairs.
I signed up for that. There's a call and you tell them, I'm this organization, this is why I would use the room, and they say yes.
Mhm.
And then I never actually needed it, but
Yeah.
I've been to one meeting there, and I think some like my worst Girl Scout troop's met there. Yeah, it's so,
That's a good suggestion.
but we're only gonna be closed for hopefully a couple of weeks at each end, right?
Yeah, but we do a good number of programs within
Yeah,
a couple
okay.
of weeks, so it'll take some planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this includes the evening. They're opened, you go in the afternoon, pick up the key, and then drop it in the drop box when you're done.
Okay.
So if you want to keep up the conversations in the evening, they'd be more than happy.
I think that's another venue we can look into.
My only other comment, or suggestion would be for our like newsletter that we send out, potentially moving forward, carving out a space for advocacy and maybe putting informational links for people that are supporters of the library to go keep up with the changes that are happening government wise. Because I think we have a lot of people that would take those opportunities to advocate if they knew what they were. So I think that might be really helpful too.
Yeah, I think now that we're actually getting stuff from our more local organizations, that would be really.
I think it'll be super helpful and we have a lot of library supporters as we found out on Saturday. So I think they would be very happy to be informed about where they can focus their energy. Thank you. All right, so. That brings us up to the most exciting part of tonight, the library repair project update. We passed.
Yeah, so the report starts with, yeah.
Long time coming.
Yeah, that was a great feeling. So as far as the actual report, the OPM is working on getting contracts done for the construction company, the moving company. With construction moving, there'll probably be other consultants and people coming in from time to time. And they're finalizing plans for outfitting the community center to house the library for a year, however. It sounds like you're gonna be able to keep the existing fire alarm system. Yeah, we have been assuming that it was gonna have to be upgraded. But apparently it's working. And if we don't mind limping along with Band-Aids for a year or so, the fire department will approve that. There's still work to be done. But that would, upgrading it, we got an estimate and it was like 225,000, which would be, it's something like 2/3 of our budget for fit out, and it would have used it all up. So anyway, hopefully that's the way it'll work out. The town is going to, Sean Keogh, the select board member liaison for the building committee, is going to reach out to other town departments. So get together a meeting and make sure that that's a good plan, I guess. Basically give the rec department a chance to complain. We want them to vote for us, but so that's basically it. The other thing I think, I'm taking off to hike the Appalachian Trail tomorrow. So I have resigned as president from the building committee, and Noreen Inyat volunteered to be the president. So she was unanimously elected. I think everybody was happy to have her. And if anyone's interested, send me an email and say, put me on your Facebook page for the 18th, and I will put you on. And you'll see whatever pictures of each we have to stick on there. So that's
Like, where do you start?
we're starting in Harpers Ferry, Virginia, which is, it's about the halfway point. And we don't want to go to Georgia because upwards of 2,000 people starting this month in Georgia. So you wind up with a lot of capacity issues at the campsites.
Like Mount Everest.
Yeah, only you can actually breathe in Georgia, so. And there's still a lot of damage from Helene along the trail in North Carolina. So starting in Virginia, we go in. If we start in Georgia, we may not make it to Maine before winter, which is something we want to avoid. So we'll start there, go to Maine, go back, and go to Georgia.
Where's your plan?
Top of Mount Top.
So you're planning on doing the whole thing, you're just.
But yeah,
putting it back.
it's called a flip flop.
Okay.
So
Great. We wish you the best of luck.
thank you.
Is there a place we can see you go by?
What's that?
Is there a place we can see you go by? Where, like when you go?
Like that, Mount Greylock. Some point, I think the trail goes right through Mount Greylock.
Road trip.
Off-site meeting.
I'll check out a book and I'll give it to y'all when you're there.
Next up on the agenda, open items list. I actually don't think there's much on it at this point.
Oh, one other thing, I mentioned last time, the questions about the shelves down there. And the plan is to ask Cliff to carefully pull one of them out, see what's back there and see what's involved in
Great.
demolish it or keep it or whatever.
Good. Suggestion box, anything, there's nothing.
No comments on it?
No. Going to the library staff, sounds like there's a good plan for that, order newsletters on hold. And bird display, we don't have any additional.
Yeah, actually, hey, can I ask you to reach out to, Katie, it's,
Carpenter?
Katie, whoever there's Marty Christensen is the guy who redid that box, he's the
Yeah.
director of the curating. I don't know, I forgot his title, director of exhibits, something like that. And his boss is Katie Chappelle. I asked her to get us an estimate,
So that's good.
and, then I dropped that ball.
Okay.
But if you could reach out to her and just sort of remind her, that would, things will be, that bird display will be easier to deal with as the ecotarian takes it off our hands before we leave the building, so.
Yeah. Welcome, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next up, trustee community outreach.
Yep, so I looked over, I booked about 15 talks, and we did 10 of them. So, and then, Julia, you might have done one for the school?
I didn't end up doing one.
Okay, but you got one done for the women's club, so we did a little bit more than 10, I booked about 15. So I don't think they're over, the Highlands wants us to come back, Willis wants to come back, Rotary Club wants us to come back. Ed is booked for May 6th at the Civic Club when he's back briefly before he
There's a wedding. So,
All right.
So I'm gonna keep working on the senior center and see if I can sort of figure out how to make that work better. That's my goal.
We have a meeting, Friday morning with the new senior and social services director.
Okay.
With the programming staff here and then myself.
Carrie.
Karen. No,
No, Karen.
well, a number of our staff and her to work on kind of how to collaborate, so.
Okay, so if you could mention, when is it, Friday morning?
Friday, yeah, I'll mention it to her.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then she will.
Yeah.
That'd be super.
that'd be awesome.
Well, thank you for your continued community outreach, it's super important. Thank you very much.
I've had a lot of fun doing it, so it's good.
Going back to the birds for a minute, always goes back to the birds.
All about the
The box that was already done, we had said after town meeting that we had wanted to publicize that. I just don't know, since we're going into the temporary space, like, is it gonna be displayed there? I wouldn't expect so, but I also don't want to not acknowledge what Ecotarium did for, another year and a half, however long it's gonna be. So what's our plan with that?
That's a really interesting point. What about the idea of positioning it temporarily at one of the elementary schools?
Nope.
It's
Not a good idea.
No, it's very
I mean,
practical.
even if you just do something online, I just wanna give them credit.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Just, I
No, I
want
think
something.
it's a fantastic
Well,
idea.
Ed and I were gonna do a talk about it, and we never managed to pull it off. We were gonna do a talk about all the research on it and stuff. And then everything was happening, and we didn't manage to pull that off. And so then we thought, well, maybe we should wait till the second one was done. But it's true that
Yes, we
I think
should.
the community would be very interested in that, and actually, there was one of the birds, there were 3 birds they didn't put in the case. And then we ended up getting back in touch with them and said, please keep them, because there was one bird that
Right.
they couldn't identify. And nobody at the Ecotarium could identify it, and no one in the Audubon Club could identify it. So I was saying to Kate and Ed, he said, I'll put that in a little case for you. We need to show that bird and have people try to identify it, because what if they could identify a bird that the Audubon Society couldn't identify? I think that would be a really interesting thing to have up as a display too, somewhere, down the road. But for presenting it, could somebody go in the newsletter about it? But that wouldn't be enough to acknowledge them, would it?
I just wanna let the birds.
This is just a thought. It would not be hard to mount the thing. And I think if you show it to Cliff, it's 2 screws into the wall.
Like that.
Yeah, to mount that. So, and I think you were talking about mounting it sort of next to the fireplace down there. It might be putting it up even if,
For 2 months, yeah, or to say, like, come
put
see
it up
it,
for 2 months
roll
and
it
let people can look at it, you can have a to-do or put that, I talked to Cliff, see if he agrees with me, but I don't think it would be.
Yeah, let me think about where, if there is a place that we might be able to put it, if we can put it out. I'm hesitant to put anything on the walls when we're working so hard to take everything off.
And I don't wanna be, I would be hesitant to put it in that room that is now the teen room.
Oh, yeah, this is right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
So-
Okay.
What about the art,
I
where
think
the
about
art
it.
was put? If we're not taking in the art, maybe we can put it somewhere where we put the artwork display.
Maybe. Now let us think about it, maybe let's bring it up at.
And more people would see it there too.
Yeah.
But
I
heard
agree,
an
if
idea
it's up
for you.
for a month.
Since I love.
And then we
birds.
could create some kind of thing that explains and thank them, right? Give them credit behind and thank them. And then it could go in the newsletter. And on Facebook.
You could use the birds. You know, I love. As a advertising focus where you have a newsletter with the bird and you have, first you have a contest to name the birds with the little kids and the teens. Then you have the projection of how things are going. Instead of having it come from staff, it's one of the birds saying, I saw them ripping down this inside. And then the next time I saw them putting up the walls, so that it's a constant through the bird's eye view. Just on the screen, you just put up a picture of it, then it gets out that we have this new thing that's all done. But it's got a little bit of humor, little kids will be looking for it, and I'm so glad that they're now all healthy. I would absolutely take them home with me.
I'll throw it out to leadership, see what they can come up with.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, yeah, and I like the idea of, trying to identify the bird, I don't know that that's, I feel like that's a great thing to need to do. Later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we can make a bigger deal of that.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it was, Ed and I went and visited and he showed us where he restored them. He explained to us how he researched how he put them in the case by evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's why that one bird was left out, because it was so big that it didn't fit where it belonged in the evolutionary series, so he couldn't put that one in. And then because I also was not fond of those birds. But when I saw the work that he had done on them, and I started getting close to him, I said to him, these birds have a facial expression now.
Yes.
And he got very excited, he said, well, I polished their eyes. You know, and it was like, he really cared about what he did with those birds, and it was beautiful work, so,
Yes.
And I just don't want it to be, no contempt, but I love birds. So it's not dead.
We'll put it on the list. Anything else for community outreach? And then I'll move us over to library director, assistant director issues. English class. Great. I have nothing, trustee.
I have two, these are not issues, but potentially wildlife ideas, we'll see. One is has the foundation talked about actually dedicating bookshelves to donors?
There's a lot of talk within the foundation about naming possibilities.
Yeah.
I think that is something we're gonna have to take a real good look at with them and with the board of trustees to figure out what makes sense and how we're gonna move forward with it, but nothing concrete.
Yeah, no, it's too early to be concrete, I suspect, but it just, I've been thinking, oh, wow, I'd like to have a bookshelf named after me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cautious about certain things and I wanna make sure that our wording is good because the minute you slap a dedication on it, it makes it really difficult to get rid of 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure it's something that is not movable, like that we're not,
Yeah.
because a lot of our stats are movable.
That would be an issue. One of the.
You don't want to be gotten rid of.
You're all over it, you're all.
Yeah, right over here.
You don't want to be
I've
gotten
done
rid
it
of.
so many times, that was the joke.
30 years, I'm probably not gonna care, so.
Yeah.
The other thing, and now I'm getting to the wildlife territory. A few years ago, somebody looked into getting a bookmobile because so many of the staff were driving books all over the place. And, maybe, I just want to raise this because otherwise I forget. Maybe in a few years after the library's transition and things settle down and we want to do something else, it might be worthwhile looking into that. And it might be worthwhile, looking into like a shared with nearby towns, I mean, the boroughs bookmobile or something, just to.
Interesting.
If you did that, you get, we got it 1 or 2 days a week and it costs us 100,000 instead of 400,000 or whatever, it might. Like I said, wild ass like this, but
Yeah, I've worked in a lot of libraries that have had, actually, I think almost all of my libraries have had bookmobiles, you guys had one, Gloucester, I was in charge of their bookmobiles. Chelmsford had one, I think the most successful one that I've seen in smaller towns like this are not your traditional walk-on bookmobiles, because then you need the lift, there's always issues with the lift, also you're limited by size and collection, you have to have a hallway. But Chelmsford is like, it's actually like an F-350 with things that come up, so it's really more like a pop-up library than it is a bookmobile. And those are only about 250,000.
oh,
And that might change, but way less expensive,
Yeah.
more mobile. If you just wanna take it as a vehicle to go somewhere, anybody can drive it. The insurance is significantly less. So I do think in terms of like a capital campaign, maybe after we're in the new building, that's a great place to start.
and I like that idea, it doesn't have to be the traditional bookmobile, it's more just
Right.
getting the
That's
books to the
Yeah.
readers,
Right.
so.
That's what's cheap. That's cheap.
Never had, yeah. Any other trustee issues?
I just wanted to say that the feel good after the town meeting, I'm still getting people talking to me. I spent
Yeah.
20 minutes in town hall talking to the woman who was greeting people, and she was talking about how she had a sign up, she can't come to the library anymore, but she really supports it and she loves that they come to her house. But everywhere I go, suddenly people are just like, oh, finally. And I just wanted to share that I'm hearing that, as I'm sure you're also are.
And people were talking about it at town meeting,
Oh, yes.
I was, as I do, talking to people around me, and they were all saying, and we came for that, we came for this, and as we were leaving, people were yelling in my face, I was like, look at, we passed this, I can't believe we didn't pass before.
Actually, it became sort of a self-sustaining reaction because some of the people I've talked to were just excited seeing so many people excited about a library.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that I think the presentations that the staff did online and in person were very persuasive, were very on point, modern, concise, but very much in detail. So it wasn't like, bore me with another thing, but it was just how it's done. And that's what we have to do to continue to get that momentum. So anything that we can do to pique the interest in just having all those librarians getting up and saying, what are we gonna do about those books, was really good, because it answered every question, so no one could go in and go, well, I didn't really know what they were doing. So that was really wonderful. And I applaud all of you who did it, and I enjoyed watching it, and even the posters in here. Very effective. I saw people stopping and the little part you walked down to actually read them. They were reading them, which is like, whoa.
Yeah, I think our approach this time was, personally, it's something that I think being thrown into like the directorship when I was, it became kind of the number one focus is how do we establish this as different from the previous project, and I do think we did that. Like I expected a lot more questions than we got on that, so I think we did a good job in that, and also a multifaceted approach, right? We approached this from every front, right? Every staff member was doing it on every front, every member here was doing it on every front, every volunteer was out there, a lot of word of mouth marketing, all the talks we did with you. The women's club was awesome. That was a great group. So many people from there, I know, showed up and brought their friends. So I think it was really good. And we had worked on garnering a few new volunteers who had not volunteered in the library before. And some of the work that they did, 2 of our newest volunteers alone put out about 400 door hangers just around the town. And so I think that I was encouraged seeing, I think, a whole new level of appreciation for the library in this town. And I was pleasantly surprised by the vote.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate all the work that you guys put in, that our friends put in, that our volunteers put in, that our staff put in, that the LBC puts in. It really does take a village to get that amount of people in that room voting yes. So, yeah.
So
I'm really
perhaps now, all those same people who were in those little vignettes, just come on and say, thank you. And then the next one, a couple of days later, thank you. So it stays in their mind that when you're moving again, you're not gonna say, oh, the library and stuff, so. Each time you do something that's, there's a wonderful book called, The Perfect Moment. That you do something that stays with a group or a person after we've done something, even if it's online, just saying thank you over and over again with those cute little, they look so cute, each one was so identifiable but so different, but it was, I like those.
I will say I was impressed by the turnout, well, I think most of that was driven by the school. Article at four, but
No, they left.
that's
A lot of people left after the
six
school.
hundred and fifty, that's the top 10 top meetings I've ever been at, I think. And a fair number of comments, only one of them was negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that was half-hearted.
Having coming from losing by 5 in our last project to have
Yeah,
over 500 people
yeah,
vote yes was so exhilarating, affirming, and just like so supportive. It was very- it was-
I really didn't know how it was, I thought we were gonna get it, but the concern about costs was a very real thing, and
Yeah.
I really like to work, how you work there, so.
Not having that overwhelming support really means a lot, so.
And it was so much fun to see the expressions on your faces when it passed. It was so.
Yeah.
Exciting. And we made sure that we didn't wanna jinx anything, but we had a plan A if it's a no,
Feeling
here's
was
what we do,
waiting.
and a plan B if it's a yes. And so we had people waiting here for the yes or no to put out, so like immediately when it voted yes, those 8-frame signs went out with the community appreciation. We knew we wanted to do a staff photo right away and get that out on social media immediately, so everybody knew. So we're kind of doing our, the very beginning of our thank you campaign for the community, and that will continue.
I noticed there were signs, some of them as I was walking down the street,
Yeah.
so.
Love it. All right, let's shift on to treasurer's report.
Straightforward, we should be in the 70 percentile range, which we are
Well, for most
for
things.
most things. We have encumbered enough to bring us to the 70% in our online things. Things to look at. I know we are going to get our electric, our gas bill, from Eversource, and yeah, yes, so it will hurt, but. And as long as everything stays working for the next 2 months, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, we just did we just did like our March end of year budgetary look to make sure that our lines were okay and our 50%. I think we'll be good.
Awesome. All right. Anyone have any questions?
Oh, I just want to ask a quick question, as lighthearted as it is. I broke the step going down to the lower,
You did, okay.
and I got my leg caught in, my heel.
Um,
And I had to grab the banister and I said, I bet they'll think I did this as a publicity stunt. Trustee falls to her death because, but the step broke
Right,
off.
yeah.
And I ran up and told somebody, but, I'll put in it, it needs to be.
No, it's the carpeted stairs, the tread.
No, the little edge
Yeah,
where the
the-
bar
the-
is,
the
I
limb
stepped on it
is
and
not-
it broke
yeah.
off and
Yeah.
I had to hold on to the railing, and I'm a 75-year-old woman, I figured that'll make the front page and everyone was, we need a new library, but I'm dead, so. it didn't matter.
You're still gonna have to wear the mask.
Don't put the fodder for the new library anymore.
I know, I'm gonna try to, and I wasn't even running down, but really I'll pay for it, or I'll sue.
If there's questions, I'll take a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Move to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Let's move on to meeting minutes.
There was one correction in, where did it go?
We have two sets of them.
Yeah, the second set of minutes.
January 22nd is the first one.
On the top of the second page,
Okay.
Chair Johnston thanked Trustee Daly, that's wrong Kate. It was- I'm like,
Okay.
what did I do?
Got it.
Can't wait, no, I have to wait downstairs.
Library's closed, so like.
Oh,
Pardon me.
Yeah, I can.
This is part of my entourage.
But do not sit in that chair.
Don't sit down, bro.
Yeah.
No, sit in that one, or you can sit.
Sit with-
Hey,
Yeah.
Yes.
Just throw the coat over the room.
Or go in my office and read it more. Anything.
Sounds good. So we're looking at right now,
The February minutes, the first line of the second page. We got our kids mixed up.
yep. Okay.
Easy enough, yes, yeah.
Okay. Nice, Kate.
I know.
Taking credit.
Hogging the fame.
If there are no other corrections to either set of minutes, we can vote them both in as presented tonight with those changes made. Take a motion for that.
so move.
Yeah, second. All in favor? 4, 7. Okay, that brings us to Friends and Foundation report. We just kind of touched base on the foundation, so I'm sure more updates will be coming along the way.
I'm sorry, who made the motion and seconded?
Mike did.
Mike made it
Yep, and
and
Jenny
Jenny
seconded.
Just one thing, again, town hall today, getting sworn in because I forgot to do it yesterday when I paid my bills.
Did you get sworn in?
The foundation flyer, I hadn't seen that before, for some reason that went over my head and all this stuff, I love it.
Yeah, I think they just redid it with their new logo. We are going to be working on a new base website for them. Something just very simple, because right now it's just one page on our website. And adding more information on different ways to donate, so yes, actively working on that. Perfect.
Sounds good. Anything on Friends? When was their last?
The Friends have one more book sale in April.
We should make
Be
it
the
big
seventh.
I was just gonna say, we should make it a big party, because that'll be the last
And
one.
then, yeah, and then we will have Better Worlds come and pick up all the
Everything.
rugs and everything. And not take any donations again until we get.
Are they not?
to
Till we get to the new space.
Yes.
The new space, and then there's space there carved
Yeah,
out for
that's what I
Friends, yes.
Okay, perfect.
So one more book sale and then not until in the new space.
Correct.
Correct.
If nothing else on Friends or Foundation, that's not how I love being early. It is agenda items for next month's meeting. Anything in particular? We have
The
Jen.
staff, yeah.
Yeah,
Jen.
Jen for now. Okay, perfect.
What is the date of the next meeting?
April, it's during April vacation week, I don't know if that is
Oh.
going to bother.
No, I'm here.
I'll probably here, I'll let you know if that changes.
What would it be? April what?
Can I do it just like, it's April, it'll be April like 20. I'll tell you.
23rd. I'm hoping I suddenly have plans, but at this point, I don't.
Can we do a quick show of hands if you think you're going to be here on April 23rd?
Sadly, yes. Sorry.
Maybe we'll put like an ed update on our agenda. So we'll keep you in spirit, let track you down the line. Barb? Yeah,
Kate, who do you want to give the repair project update next month?
I'll do it.
Okay, cool.
We'll just start over that. And at 8:01, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.